Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, January 29th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. We are extremely sad to announce that longtime Assistant Town Manager Bernie Cooper passed away late Sunday night. Cooper, who worked in town for over 40 years, passed away after a battle with cancer. Monday, Town Manager Tony Mazzucco posted a powerful post on the town's social media. At Tuesday night's Selectmen's meeting, he read the message.
It's with great sadness that we have to let everyone know that our friend Bernie Cooper has passed away. He leaves behind Connie and their four children, Sam, Josh, Alicia, Amelia, and her husband Michael. Bernie is the heart and soul of Norwood. He is everything we know and love about Norwood. While many of us will mourn the loss of a colleague and a dedicated public servant, I am among many mourning the loss of a beloved friend. Bernie and I had personally become very close friends, attached at the hip 6 days a week. From first thing in the morning to walking out to our cars together at night, the number of times we talked and saw each other throughout the day was probably over 100. Calls in the evening, early morning, every weekend, and most holidays. During all of the storms, all of the meetings, the lunches with Tom, Bernie was always there. I'll miss his smile and his friendly attitude, his advice and his knowledge, but most of all, his good nature. Bernie simply was the absolute best a human being could be. Bernie has been my rock since coming to Norwood, and he was John Carroll's before that. When I spoke to John a few nights ago, he said his heart was completely broken. I think we all share in that brokenheartedness. We lost a wonderful person, a dedicated employee, and I have lost a best friend. Bernie means the world to so many of us, and the coming days and months will be hard for all of us. To Connie, Alicia, Josh, Sam, Amelia, and Michael, we grieve with you in the loss of your husband and father. While a family always knows a person the best and closest, Bernie is such an important part of so many lives and has impacted so many people. We're grateful that you shared him with us and with Norwood. Our whole community shares in your sorrow, and we hope we can comfort and strengthen you during this difficult time.
Wednesday, town employees and residents paid respect to Bernie as his funeral procession passed through Norwood. All of us at NCM send our condolences to the Cooper family. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Director of the Morrill Memorial Library, Charlotte Kennelly, will retire this Friday. NCM would like to thank Charlotte for her tireless work as library director and always being so good to us and the community as a whole. We caught up with her during her final week to hear her thoughts on her career here in Norwood.
Well, I will be leaving on Friday, January 29th, along with two of my other coworkers, April Cushing, who is retiring, and Nancy Ling, who is moving on to other things. And I have loved being the library director here in Norwood for 12 years. I've been a librarian for about 2 decades, and it's been a wonderful career. I hate to leave Norwood, but we will be living half-time in Florida, in Fort Myers, and half-time on the South Coast in Marion, Mass. So I actually loved living in Norwood the years that I lived here during my tenure. But I will be back. I will be back to visit some of the wonderful library staff. I will definitely miss having books at my fingertips every single day to do any kind of research that I wanted to do. Although I already have a book on hold down in Fort Myers. So that's it from here. Thank you very much, Norwood.
Thanks so much, Charlotte. We wish you the best of luck in your retirement. You will be truly missed. Monday morning, the famous town hall Carillon was taken down to begin its refurbishing. The Carillon will be taken to Virginia to undergo maintenance and will be out of commission for a few months. For more on this, we go to Benjamin Sunderland, who can tell us more on what's to be done.
So the Norwood Memorial Carillon is a really special instrument. It's a pre-1930s Gillett and Johnston Carillon. That company is no longer in business, so preserving these instruments, especially from this manufacturer, are really special tasks for bell companies in the United States to take care of and to preserve for future generations. So what we will be doing is a pretty extensive restoration on the console and the action. That is the mechanical system that allows the carillonneur to actually manipulate the clappers and play the bells. So the bells and the frame will be staying in the tower, but pretty much everything else will be removed from the tower, and we will go through and manufacture new clappers and make updates to the transmission and the console in order to make the instrument easier to play so that the citizens and visitors to Norwood can continue on to enjoy the bells for future generations.
The Carillon historically has been in a condition that is, I would describe as a little bit marginal in terms of its ability to play very, very high level and with some degree of difficulty. The bells themselves are great sounding bells, and it's the sound that is known by many people who do listen to the bells when they're playing in and around town hall. But the experience of playing them, I've found, is inconsistent, and it has been a challenge for many other visiting carillonneurs to come in and see them struggle at times with the irregularities of the instrument as they are playing. I've sort of gotten used to that, but it is still a challenge to do the nuances and the finesse of playing the bells.
We will miss those beautiful sounds, but it'll be back in no time. Last Friday, the Ponset River Regional Chamber held their 127th annual meeting and announced this year's honorees, a number of which were located here in Norwood. Tom O'Rourke, President and CEO of the NRRC, explains the event and this year's honorees.
Yeah, this year we changed things up with our awards. Normally we honor businesses who've done certain things throughout the year to support the community, but this year, obviously being different, we thought it was important to recognize what we were calling our COVID heroes among us, those businesses that did something special for the community that had to do with the pandemic that we've all been trying to get through over the past year. So we recognize some businesses for their reaction to the COVID pandemic. Yeah, so we recognized 3 businesses in the town of Norwood. One of them was Norwood Hospital. As you all know, the hospital has been closed for some time, but what people may not remember is that prior to the hospital closing because of the flood, they were really on the front lines of treating patients in Norwood in the early stages of the pandemic, and they really stepped up. All of their employees did a great job at some risk to themselves, and we really appreciate the work that they did to serve the community at that time. Another organization we recognized was the Friends of Norwood Center. Many people know the Friends of Norwood Center as a volunteer organization working to support businesses in the downtown area. And they too stepped up early on in the pandemic with a program called Norwood Feeds the Front Lines. What they did was they raised money from the community. They went out and supported local restaurants by purchasing meals and then delivering those meals to frontline workers at the hospital and the police and fire station. And then our third recipient of the COVID Hero Among Us Award was really an easy choice and probably the most obvious, and that was Moderna. As you all know, Moderna has developed an effective vaccine against COVID-19, and they're producing that vaccine right here in the town of Norwood. And we were so pleased to be able to recognize them for the work that they did in coming out with the vaccine so quickly and getting it out on the street to the point where people are now receiving that vaccine and giving us all hope for the future. We were really pleased, as I said, to recognize these three businesses as well as a few others from surrounding towns. But what we also pointed out is that we know that a lot of people have done a lot of great things over the course of the past year. It's been a very difficult year for a lot of people, and we're really pleased to see the way that the business community has stepped up to help out in so many different ways, whether it's supporting the frontline workers or producing PPE equipment. Whatever it is, they've been there to do it, and we're very happy to be able to support them and honor them.
Congrats to those honorees, very well deserved. And now we're going to toss it over to Juliana O'Neill with school news.
Hi, I'm Juliana O'Neill, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. At the Coakley Middle School, grade 6 students are working hard on their STEM Catapult Challenge. They must build a catapult that launches a ping pong ball 10 feet into a target. CMS Principal Dr. Frazic has told BALT Principal Diane Ferreira to keep an eye out to the sky. We will report back on their progress. At the Balch School, they took part in 2 virtual experiences with Miss Money sponsored by Rockland Trust. Miss Money is a nationally recognized educational, interactive musical presentation that teaches elementary-age students the concepts of saving, sharing, and spending money. What a fun and educational experience to take part in on a snowy Wednesday. Students at the Carillon School recently participated in the flu clinic with the support of the Norwood Pharmacy. Over 30 students received the flu vaccine at the Carillon. Hat Day is always a popular day at the Carillon. Even Miss Ryan joined in on the festivities and fun. Carillon students enjoyed their remote day on Wednesday, taking time out to create this unique snowman, in between Google Meets and asynchronous activities. In honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the 4th graders at the Oldham Elementary School have been learning about Martin's major accomplishments. The students have been reading and watching videos to gather information to write an informational essay about these accomplishments. In honor of King's I Have a Dream speech, the students also created their own dreams for the world. Here are a few.
I have a dream that one day I will be the first woman president. My dream is to save the elephants.
I have a dream that everyone should be treated the right way.
Thanks for those video clips, Oldham School. It's great to hear the students read their own speeches. The Prescott School held a Winter Spirit Week this past week. They kicked the week off with a day of service from home on MLK Day, which encouraged students to write notes to frontline workers or safely do a service project in their neighborhood. The week continued with Community Pride Day, Red and White and Blue Day to recognize Inauguration Day, Teacher-Student Swap Day, and Decade Day. Throughout the week, they celebrated being part of the Prescott community. Throughout the week, the Prescott asked members of their community to give back in honor of MLK Day by donating items to the Norwood Food Pantry. Thus far, their 4th grade has really stepped up to the plate and filled their donation box. The food drive runs through the end of next week. At the Willett School this week, some of the kindergarten students, those in A3, set out on a sight word scavenger hunt. Sight words are words that appear frequently in most of the text people read, but can't easily be sounded out. Learning them helps children become more confident readers. The words these students were finding spread out along our hallway included some of the most commonly used words every kid should know, also called high-frequency words. This included is, from, have, one, the, you, and a number of other words too. In addition to finding the words, the children were able to practice which words they know and which ones they still need help with. This exercise also has the children practicing their handwriting and fine motor skills. As most of you know, writing on a clipboard while standing up is not the easiest task. Some students use one of their knees to help balance their clipboard, a pretty smart strategy. Norwood High School has announced that the students of the month for October are Samara Addo and Robbie Wachowski. Students are recommended by the NHS staff and their pictures are displayed in the hallways. Congratulations to Samara and Robbie. And finally, Norwood Extended Day programs plans for a rich and fun vacation week in February. Programming will run from Tuesday the 16th through Friday the 19th and is open to MPS elementary students enrolled in hybrid learning. February Vacation Week offers full-day child care with tons of organized sports and enrichment. Inquire the Extended Day Program Director, Chris Capizio, to learn more about the hours of operation, logistics, COVID safety, protocol, daily rates, and special programming. Registration will be online and open on Friday, January 26th. Well, that's it for the school news. There's something interesting happening in our classrooms and schools every day, and thanks to all the educators who share their news with us. Now let's go to Brian Dunn with the latest sports news.
Hello everyone and welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn and we are back with plenty of sports action to go through. Let's go team by team and break down all the action. To say boys basketball is on a tear this season would be a massive understatement. The Mustangs sit at 5-2 with a strong performance against Holliston at home to round out the weekend. They did suffer a tough defeat over at Westwood to bring them to a Friday night showdown against the Wolverines over at Nolette Johnson Court. Girls hockey battled some COVID complications the past few weeks, but picked up right where they left off with a 2-0 victory over Hopkinton this past Wednesday. Marissa Cataldo and Jenna Nauman were the goal scorers for the Mustangs, and Lily Newman was the shutout effort, as the girls improved to 2-2 on the year. Gymnastics hosted their first meet of the season against the Norton Lancers. The Mustangs competed hard in a tough decision and lose to the Norton Lancers 137.85 to 137.5 over at Broderick Gymnastics. Swim and dive virtually competed against Dedham last Friday. Norwood had a first place finisher in every event held and had a strong showing to beat the Marauders by a final tally of 114-36 for the girls and 109-38 for the boys. And that's the recap for sports this week. Earlier in the week, AJ Quetta, a hockey player for Bishop Fian, suffered a very serious injury. The hockey community is looking to come together and hopes to raise funds for his recovery. For those who want to help, you can make a donation to a GoFundMe page we will link in the description of this video when it airs on social media. Or you can search Help Pay for AJ's Hospital Treatment and Recovery on GoFundMe.com. I'll talk to you next week. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. Monday night, the planning board met with most of their agenda geared towards the articles for the upcoming town meeting. The first appearance of the night was juice bar owner Marcy Pastorio applying for signage at their new location at 20 Broadway, formerly Spot. The board approved the application after a brief discussion. Following the approval, the board held 6 public hearings to review zoning bylaw and amendment articles for the upcoming town meeting. The final agenda item of the night was a continued hearing for a violation of conditions of approval for the definitive subdivision plan for the Upland Woods subdivision. Town planner Paul Halkiotis explained to the board the reasoning behind this continued hearing and his current recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, well, I'm happy to report that we are making progress. Campanelli and Alexandria are making progress moving forward with the design for the signalization of Planning Fields Road and Upland Road. They're in the process of kind of transferring officially the responsibility of doing that work from Campanelli to Alexandria and following up with MassDOT and notifying them of who will be involved with kind of managing this project. When we had our hearing last fall, they presented a letter dated October 12th that they had sent to MassDOT answering questions that MassDOT had about these permit requirements. And that letter laid out what I had just explained, that Campanelli is pulling away. They don't really own much real estate left there. And Alexandria has stepped up and is a holder of a couple of parcels there. And they have agreed to pay for the cost of designing and signalizing that intersection. So I received a second letter today addressed to MassDOT where from John Pauly, where he's indicating that they will be taking over and will be acting as the agent to complete the project. We called for this public hearing last fall because we weren't feeling confident that Campanelli was going to move forward expeditiously to get this project completed. And we have continued to kind of work with them and with Alexandria. And it now looks like we're in pretty good shape to resolve this issue. We're confident that these two companies have committed to us that they will get this work done. And they have this work under contract with VHB right now. based on that, I'm going to recommend that the board vote to close the public hearing. I'd be glad to answer questions, and I'm sure Mr. Pauly and Mr. DeMarco will be available to answer any questions that you have.
The next planning board meeting will be in the coming weeks. Also Monday night, the Sustainability Commission began their meeting with a brief discussion of the Sustainability Action Plan. Most of the discussion during the meeting was about the upcoming town meeting on February 4th. The Sustainability Commission will meet again on February 22nd. After beginning their meeting with a tribute to late Assistant General Manager Bernie Cooper, the Board of Selectmen held a joint meeting with the Library Board of Trustees to appoint a new trustee to fill the remainder of Leah O'Leary's term following her passing. The joint boards were pleased to announce that former Finance Commissioner and current Trails Advisory member Joe Greeley will be filling the vacancy. Town Moderator David Hearn joined the meeting to discuss quorum reduction at the virtual town meeting. The board voted 4-1 to reduce the quorum to 45 members. DPW Director Mark Ryan submitted his monthly report of DPW activity, as well as a brief recap of the 2020 activity. The Board of Selectmen will meet again on February 9th. The school committee met on Wednesday and had a jam-packed agenda. Aubrey Seal from Impact Norwood was there to give an update on Impact Norwood and the mental health interface that you find on their website. On their website, you can also find the COVID-19 toolkit with resources for all ages. Sigal Reese was also there to give her bi-weekly COVID-19 update. Sigal reported the numbers keep increasing since November, but has not seen a huge jump as before. Sigal also talked about the vaccine distribution process.
On Monday, the phase 2 of the vaccine plan will open. So that means individuals 75 and older will qualify, will be eligible to receive vaccine. At the same time, we are dealing with definitely a supply issue. We have a large capacity to vaccinate in Massachusetts, and it's double to triple the supply that we're receiving. So huge capacity to vaccinate, plenty of places and people ready to vaccinate, including us, but just not enough vaccine coming into the state. The state is not sitting on vaccine. They receive an allocation from the federal government and process all those different vaccination centers across the state and then distribute those allocations, and they ship directly from the manufacturer to us, along with supplies actually too. So what they have done is they indicated to us that they will only ship to us 100 doses a week, probably through February. So as you can imagine, we still have people in phase 1 that are waiting for vaccine, and now we have thousands of people coming on with phase 2 with the 75 and older.
Al Bishop, Director of the Transportation Department, gave a thorough presentation about his department and stressed how vital the drivers are to the school system. Bishop proposed new benefits and a pay increase for the drivers and monitors in the department.
The recommendation I have right now is we are way low on the hourly wage to the drivers. And again, we have that gap that continues to shrink between minimum wage and what they're currently being paid. I would recommend now an increase for the monitors to $16.50 per hour, 18 on the 7D drivers, and 22 on the CDL drivers. After that, I would request a moderate 2.5% increase for 2022, 2023. We obviously could talk about that next year, but I would recommend a review at least every 3 years with regard to whatever may be adopted. With regard to current benefits, the only benefit they have really is they get 12 hours of sick time. So when I got here, the initial I shouldn't even say it was a mandate. The initial protocol, if you will, was to keep the drivers below 20 hours a week. And as such, they were granted sick time in the amount of 4 hours per day or 12 hours total, 3 sick days.
The board approved his request unanimously. The school committee will meet again on February 10th. On Wednesday night, the CPC talked about the supplemental funding for the Carolyn Rehabilitation Project that started this week. Lee Leach, project applicant and Carolyn, is seeking additional funding at the upcoming town meeting on February 4th.
Just going forward, we did do as much diligence as we could at the time, and then the fact that as we got through going into the process of actually getting solid numbers through contract, it became very clear that basically the best option would be to do a supplemental that that could be covered with for the painting. So in fact, Ben Sunderland's contract was awarded, is actually going on now in terms of the initial funding. So just because the contracts weren't completely done doesn't mean we didn't try to keep going and get some work done on this. So Carillon right now is mission. Ben left the one bell that was heard today when Bernie's cortege went through town. So from now until it's reinstalled back and going forward, maybe sometime in the middle of the springtime or late spring, the bells will be silent.
The CPC also discussed their special town meeting presentation that gives an overview of the community preservation projects and what has been budgeted for the upcoming year. The board also wished Patrick Deshane good luck with his new job and thanked him for everything he has done for the town. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news.
Did you know Norwood Community Media offers podcast episodes of your favorite community and government content? NCM is also proud to host 2 independent podcast producers. The Impaction podcast, hosted by Aubrey Seall, focusing on substance use prevention and wellness. And Today in Space, hosted by Alex Orfanos, exploring topics beyond our atmosphere. To find these and more, search for Norwood Community Media on iTunes and Podbean.
Welcome back. Wednesday, a group of Norwood residents gathered at the Senior Center to gather food donations for the Mustang Food Pantry and Norwood Food Pantry. Donations were accepted at the side entrance of the center, and volunteers collected and sorted out the food to be distributed at a later date.
Hi, my name is Linda Rao, and I'm here at the Norwood Senior Center, and we're collecting donations for the Norwood Food Pantry and also the Mustang Food Pantry. This is a town-wide effort to help people, not just in our schools, our high school and middle school, families that have been identified as having food insecurities, but also for other people that might need it, that can go to the Norwood Food Pantry and get what they need. And that there is a lot of food insecurity around, and people might not ask for help, but if you offer it, I'm sure people will be glad to accept it. And just come up and donate and be happy for the abundance you have, and let's just all share it.
If you are interested in donating or are in need of assistance, visit the Feed Norwood Facebook page for more information. Chefin' in Eaton is a local artisan bakery, eatery, and catering shop located in downtown Norwood. They opened their doors a few months before the COVID-19 pandemic started and shut things down in March of 2020. Chefin' in Eaton were able to get creative and stay open for takeout like other businesses, but this past year has not been easy. Recently, the Massachusetts Conference for Women were able to donate $285,000 in grants to 578 women-owned restaurants across the state in an initiative with the Massachusetts Restaurant Association. Chefin' in Eaton were awarded the grant. Quoted from their Facebook post, "Thank you, Massachusetts Conference for Women and Massachusetts Restaurant Association. Words cannot express how much we truly appreciate your generous grant award. Congrats to Chefin' in Eaton, and we cannot wait to stop in for a bite." A reminder to all residents that the MBTA commuter rail has suspended all weekend service on the Franklin line. According to the MBTA website, the schedule change will be until further notice. The Providence line that makes stops at Canton Junction and the Route 128 stop at University Ave will continue to offer weekend rail service. Bus service will continue to operate through Norwood. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. We leave you with Amazing Grace, performed by Lee Leach on the town Carolyn in memory of his friend Bernie Cooper.